Asking for an increase of faith. I've said this many times here before. I am always very careful what I ask God for because, as my best friend, Father Joe Krupp says, be careful what you ask God for because you will get it. But it usually comes to us through ways for these things to be practiced. So if you want more faith, then you're going to get opportunities to practice faith. And faith isn't just the absence of, worry for us. I think for a lot of people, they want to say faith produces certainty or something. And they just say, well, at minimum, I just want to know that it's all going to work out okay. Well, that's not faith. Well, it's faith in something. It's faith in our own personal assurance. It's not faith in the fidelity of God, because it isn't consistent with anything that happened in the scriptures in the life of Jesus. And so that we would have to look at this call to faith that these people say to Jesus, increase our faith. And it's not that he's scolding them. It's really that he's just asking them to think about it. How does faith come about? And we hear from the prophet Habakkuk right off the bat, oh Lord, I cried to you. How long? How long must I wait? And then you hear Paul make this point about stirring this into a flame, not light it and walk away, right? That faith ends up being presented to us as a maturation, a maturity that comes to us through patience, through the experience of our lives, all the ways in which God does that with us. And I think that gets lived out in very ordinary ways. Maybe it's within a couple who's married and for many years, that all the ups and downs, all the things that they keep saying in faith that they know. And that what they know isn't about the assurance of certainty, but to say, I believe that God is working here. I believe that God is working here. And that shows up in other ways. Maybe it's in praying for a child of yours who doesn't currently practice the faith. Maybe it's praying for a friendship that has been broken or strained. Maybe it's in showing up to Mass when what you feel inside is empty. Those are all ordinary actions that are witnessing to an extraordinary trust that says that within my own mind, I don't possess the whole vision that Habakkuk just told us about. Because as he said, the vision will not disappoint. And so then we live in a way that says, I want to be a part of a vision that's bigger than what I can comprehend. And not just comprehend in my mind, but comprehend in time. I don't know about you, I can get so stuck in this moment. And this is that interesting tension or paradox between this is the only moment we have. I can't live in the future. I can't dwell in the past. So I want to be present to this moment. But as a person of faith, I want to have the hope that's necessary to believe that the next moment presents the opportunity for God to be equally as present. And me to let go of the need to try to control those things or let my emotions get too high or too low in those moments and just say, I trust God. That in this maturity of patience, that's why I say, careful, if you want more faith, this is how it gets practiced, right? Is to take the moments, the unresolved moments in our lives and just hold them. Sit with them, stand with them, pray with them, show up to the community with them. Receive the broken body of Christ and say, here, Lord, I don't know what to do with this. And we see in the Eucharist the very thing that was said. It's a little weird story, isn't it, about the servant? What? Although it's true, if you think of it, if you had a servant and they did what they were supposed to do, you wouldn't be patting them on the back like, hey, great job. That's just what you're supposed to do. And that word gets translated a lot of different ways. Often comes out useless slave. But it's not useless in the sense they don't have value. It simply means that they're owed no source of adoration, if you want. And that's just to say, when you and I do what we're supposed to do, when we live our faith and we love God's people and we testify to faith, God's not indebted to us for doing that. That's what this piece of the story is trying to point out to us. It's simply what we're supposed to do, and it becomes its own blessing to us in that moment that we experience and say, yes, Lord, And so it's not to say then faith is not about conquering it, the fears and all those things. It's not to say faith's not about doubting, never doubting. Let me say it that way. Faith is never about never doubting. It's about never quitting. It's about continuing to show up. It's about continuing to pray. It's the example of St. Monica praying for Augustine to say, I'm not going to give up. And there it is, right? I've quoted the great prophet Woody Allen before, who once said, 80% of life is just showing up. 80% of life's just showing up. Well, maybe 80% of faith is just showing up, to bring it right to its side and say, I'm just going to be present. I don't know how this resolves. I can't see it to its completion, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to intercede. I'm going to pray. I'm going to keep bringing these things before God. Because that's where God, as long as we're showing up, God's still working. And to be quite honest, sometimes when we don't show up, God's still working, right? He's still offering it to us in so many beautiful ways. And there's the gift of the Eucharist. We've shown up. Even if you're sitting here today going, I don't know why I'm here. Maybe it's just habit. Maybe I'm just here for habit. But the Lord that conquered sin and death says, I'm glad you're here. And I want you to take my presence within you so that the slow, maturing work of faith can work in you. Anything less just isn't worth our lives. And so we look for this opportunity today to receive him, to take all that we bring to this moment, our highs, our lows, that which is working, that which is not, the thing that we've tried everything we can think of in our great intellect, maybe to fix it. And then just to say, Lord, I just bring it to you. And there's faith. St. John the 23rd, quoting Francis de Sales, used to say, it's just the ordinary things done extraordinarily well. And so let us be people of prayer. Let us be people who are honest about where we are and how we're feeling, and we can share that with each other. But in the end, there's our definition for faith. It's this slow, patient maturation within us, to each other, and in the body of Christ. May God be praised.